stuff.
Welcome to the Fort Myers Beach Good Neighbor podcast. No shade, just sunshine. Drama-free, positive vibes only. This is the Fort Myers Beach Chamber Roxie series, where we share local information, meet the people who make this island special, and shine some sun on the businesses that keep our island glowing. Here's your host, Cabo Jim Shell.
Welcome, Fort Myers Beach Good Neighbors, to another episode of Roxie Power Hour here in Times Square. Today we have Brianna from the Mound House here locally.
Hi.
Pleasure to have you here today.
Thank you for having us. We're so excited to be here.
And for those that aren't aware, what is the Mound House, right?
The Mound House is actually the oldest standing structure on Fort Myers Beach. It was originally built in 1906 by the Case family, but the property is actually a part of the original Homestead Act from 1862. Some of the very first pioneers that came to the island in the 1880s originally settled on the abandoned Calusa shell mound that the house is standing on. Wow. So it's not only a historic house museum, but it's also an archaeological site and a wildlife reservation as well. So you're getting very many layers of history there. So while the house is 120 years old, the property itself is over 2,000 years old. Wow. And it's really unique because the house is settled directly on top of a 2,000-year-old Calusa shell mound. It's really incredible. So if you haven't come out to see Mound House yet, I highly recommend it. There's so much to do there. There's so much to see, so much to learn. Every day is just a new learning experience for us.
So a mound of shells.
A mound of shells.
How does that come about?
So the Calusa were complex hunter-fisher-gatherers, meaning that they got a majority of their diet from right out in the estuary. They would eat the shellfish that they fished, drop it where they stood, and eventually that started to create a growing trash pile, or a midden, as we archaeologists call it. So the Calusa settled on the Mound House property between 400 AD and 1650. And during that time, they started to harness the growing pile of shells and take advantage of its growing height. And so they kept building it up over 1,500 years. And they developed their satellite village on top of that property. We were just a satellite village in connection with Mound Key, which is the Calusa capital, located about 4 miles in the bay away. And we probably had about 550 people at one time settling in this village. And it's just a very unique situation. The mound provided protection from flood waters. It provided space for their growing population. And it provided them with a nice cool breeze because it's in Southwest Florida. We're all very hot. We all have to have our hair up. So imagine what it was like 2,000 years ago when the Calusa were here. Oh, yeah. And the Mound House just shows us that Calusa were not much different from us these days. You know, we still want to have our hair up. We still want to fish. We still need to provide for ourselves. And that shell mound gave them everything that they needed to survive for 2,000 years right there. Really amazing.
Kind of ingenious, making their own island, right?
It absolutely is.
Pretty much what they did.
Absolutely. They really did. And it was so amazing. They were not the only satellite village in the area. I believe there was 2 or 3 more surrounding Mound Key. But when the pioneers decided to start coming to Fort Myers, they decided to take advantage of the Calusa shell mounds as well. And for the same exact reasons that the Calusa built them, protection from the flood waters higher up. And it was just a really great opportunity for them to start afresh. And the Case family was the very first ones to build on this mound. They were actually potentially a part of the Koreshan Unity. And if you've never heard of the Koreshan Unity, they were a religious utopian society who settled in the area. And they owned the property from about 1904 to 1909. So then they deeded the property over to the Case family. And the Case family was currently living on a houseboat right out there in the estuary. And Mrs. Case said, "I'm tired of cooking on this houseboat. Build me a kitchen." So Mr. Case said, "Yes, dear." Not unlike my own husband. Yep. And so where our beautiful gift shop is the site of that original Tudor-style kitchen that they built in 1906. In 1909, they decided to settle just a little bit further, and they bumped it out to accommodate a living room. And so it became the bungalow by the banyan. There was this big, beautiful banyan tree there at one time, which has now been replaced by a strangler fig tree. Strangler fig tree, which you didn't hear that. And they decided to stay there until 1918 or so. Mr. Case actually served as the very first postmaster from 1914 to 1918 because it was one of the only places on the island that actually had a boat dock. So he was able to deliver everyone's mail and take care of that. This wind's crazy.
I know.
Oh my gosh. But the house that you see standing today is currently standing at its 1921 version because we are on the National Register of Historic Places. And so at the time of the town of Fort Myers Beach acquisition, of the property in 2000, the house itself was not eligible to go on that register.
Really?
So the state of Florida recommended that it be restored back to its last historic time period, which in this case was 1921.
It was a big year on Fort Myers Beach because there were 4. I just talked with Ellie over at the Historic Society, and they had 4 houses that were from the 1921 as well.
Absolutely. It's a beautiful arts and crafts style time period. And Captain Jack Delisle actually, who renovated the house the way it looks like right now, he did not legally own the house at the time. So he illegally renovated the house to accommodate a second-story wraparound porch, a 300 square foot bathroom, and a north room in there. So the house is quite large, and it's perfect for our needs as a museum. But it was actually lived in until 1994.
Wow.
And the town of Fort Myers Beach, it was one of the very first things that the newly incorporated town of Fort Myers Beach purchased with the help of state grants and private funds in 2000. But it didn't become the museum that we know and love today until 2015. So we're still fairly regular in the new museum, still working out the kinks, but we have so much to share and so many opportunities for people to learn about both the Calusa and the pioneers and the residents who lived in Mound House over the last century.
So you're saying even back then they were doing things without permits?
Yes, exactly. They really were. It was uncommon. Nothing's changed. People have not changed much over time, and we're very grateful for it because we get to learn new things every single day, and it's just a wonderful place to be. It's beautiful grounds, very well maintained. We're very, very, very proud of it. And as of last April, we are now the home of the very first and only public archaeology lab in all of Southwest Florida.
That is great.
It's amazing. In that 1921 bathroom that Captain Jack Delisle built, I stole it when I joined the staff in July of 2024. We have brought back the archaeological collection back to Mound House's site for the very first time since 2002, when it was originally excavated during the house's restoration. Those artifacts have not been on site since the day they were plucked from the ground. And we have retrofitted that bathroom into being a permanent collection storage facility. And so visitors can now come to Mound House, look through the plexiglass window in the door, or take a tour with me on my tours that I take on Wednesdays and Saturdays. And they get to go into the Artifact Preservation Center, get their hands on the collection, see what the cataloging process looks like, and see everything that we're doing in there. Because it's really important work that we do. We're very proud of it, and I can't wait to see the future of Mound House because we're keeping going.
That is awesome. Yeah. So they built it to withstand floods.
Yes.
Obviously, they built it to withstand hurricanes because we've been through a lot, and it's still around.
Still there. I think we definitely need to take a page out of their architecture book because Mr. Case himself built the bricks in 1909, and clearly he did something right because it's still standing. In Hurricane Ian, unfortunately, our walk-in shell mound exhibit where visitors could see the exposed cross midden of the shell mound was destroyed during Hurricane Ian. But the house itself only got an inch of water in it. Wow. So I think it's really amazing. That's just how high up we are. So not only is it the oldest structure on a sterile island, but it's also the highest point on a sterile island, standing at 13 feet above sea level.
And that's crazy. I mean, you think mountains, but it's a big difference.
Exactly. It really, really does. So we're very proud of it.
So if any of our listeners wanted to come out and visit, what's the best way to do so?
We are open Wednesdays to Saturdays from 9 o'clock to 4. The grounds are open 7 days a week from sun up to sundown. But I highly recommend taking a guided tour with me or one of our lovely docents who've been here since the very beginning in 2000. Everyone there is extremely knowledgeable about both the Calusa history and the house's history. So you're going to get a very well-rounded education while you're there. But we have daily tours offered throughout the day. So whenever you come, just ask for availability, and we'll be happy to accommodate your group. We have indoor tours that go throughout each of the exhibits before you get to explore on your own. And then we have an outdoor tour in which visitors get to put their hands on replica artifacts and even throw an atlatl spear, which was the ancient hunting tool of the Calusa. Really fun. And then, like I said, on Wednesdays and Saturdays at 11 o'clock, I offer a tour called Archaeology and Archives. Half of the tour takes place outside, learning about the field of archaeology, the tools that we use in the field, and learning more about the excavations that took place on property between 2002 and 2011. And then going inside the APC and getting your hands on the collection artifacts and seeing the inner workings of collections management field.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. We all love Fort Myers Beach for the beach, but there is more to do on Fort Myers Beach.
There's always more to do.
More history to get involved with and learn about, and it's great. I appreciate everything you do for the Mound House and for Fort Myers Beach. And Thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor. Thank you so much.
Yep, we'll see you out at the Mound House soon.
Yes, absolutely.
Thanks for soaking up a little sunshine with Roxie and the Fort Myers Beach Chamber. If you loved today's local scoop, share this episode, leave a quick review, and follow for more island stories. And come join us every Friday at the Roxie in Times Square on beautiful Fort Myers Beach. Also, to nominate your favorite neighbors, local legends, heroes, or local businesses to be on the show, go to fmbgoodneighbor.com. That's fmbgoodneighbor.com. Or call 239-427-4100. Until next time, support local, be a good neighbor, and we'll see you at the beach.